back in the place to be. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is a fun day to be a Jets fan. What a fun, interesting week we had. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun things, break down some fun things, look at some things that are fun. It's going to be a fun episode, I feel. I'm in a good mood, man. I'm in a good mood. Welcome to episode 154 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. I am Green Bean, and again, I'm happy that you are here. Why am I in such a good mood? Well, it seems that this free agent period of the New York Jets has gotten a little under our skin a little bit in a good way. It's kind of stirring up some feelings that maybe we thought had died, withered, blown away like so many leaves in November. But we're alive again. We feel like this burst, this influx of positive, like, wait a second, maybe we're going to be good again. Here we are again. Oh, my God. The Jets are the best. I don't want to hear it, man. These teams go on and win rings and trophies. That's easy. How can you possibly keep a beaten and traumatized fan base, millions of us? How can you keep us this engaged after just heartbreaking disappointment, getting dragged through the muck by the national media, if not the intensity of the New York media and everybody, all the fans laughing at us and stuff? How can you keep us on a yearly basis cyclically going, all right, this is the year? Well, here we are again. So we feel that. And through that stuff, we have now seen we have an event coming up, man, and I am so excited about it, and I can't wait to it's April 25th, the first round of the draft up there in Long Island. I'm going up to Long Island from my home base here in the rural area of Central Virginia, and we're going to go to Long Island, and we're going to hang out together and do an amazing live stream. But live streams, that makes sense. Live stream on location. And we do have limited tickets. And this week we just saw a burst of excited Jets fans jump on in with us. And I couldn't be more excited, man. So if you wanted to hop on into that party with us, again, April 25th, first round of the draft. We will be live. Matt O'Leary, Ryan, and myself. Jeremy will be there as well. Jets Chaos, and so many other names from the chat, the Crossfires, the Hennessy's of the world. They're going to be there. Finally get to meet those people in person. And some other people who were just kind of keeping on the back. But you'll be delighted to hang with them. 3 hours of open bar, 3 hours of buffet. The crowd cams will all be together. So this time, it won't just be us that you get to look back and see our actual reactions. It'll be all you.
Will McDonald, linebacker, Iowa State. Let's go.
Wow. All right. What the hell just happened?
I didn't see that coming.
All of you. We get to see if you were happy or sad when the names get called. But it's going to be a blast. If you want to get in, the link is in the description, but just go to TalkinJets.com. You'll see it there for our draft party. Guys, I couldn't be more excited. I can't wait. I can't wait. Now, and we're getting there. It's inching closer. Today's the 24th when this is released. Tomorrow morning, or today for you, the 25th of March. We got 1 month, baby. One more month. And the Jets are doing fun things to keep us engaged. It's great, man. Going to be killer. I mean, it's all coming together. It's becoming real. So I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited to talk to you guys. What are we going to talk about today? Well, we got the signings. You know, we brought some, another player in. We'll talk briefly about him. We've cut that up to some degree. We'll also talk about a guy that the Jets are aggressively pursuing. We have highly motivated is the phrase that's being thrown out there, but there's another piece to it that nobody's talking about because it's coming out of another market, and I'll share that with you today. We'll also break down, guys, the way that our general manager has been doing this whole free agent collection, taking care of it, organizing it. The way he's done it, we'll compare it a little bit to a previous free agent period. For the situation we're in, looks like it might be some genius kind of stuff going on here. I'm just saying. We'll talk about all that. Guys, I want to give you a special offer, very quick. The Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier right here. That's the kids' stuff. For the next 3 days, until the 27th, my 15% off deal goes up to 25% off. If you use the promo code GreenBeanJetsFan, when you order on Liquid IV's website, you will get 25% off of your entire order. If you were waiting, if you were contemplating it, now's the time, man. Liquid IV, the finest whole hydration multiplier on the market. Links in the description to their website, but just go to liquidiv.com. Use the promo code GreenBeanJetsFan at checkout, and 25% of your entire cost, poof, gone. There you go. Guys, let's get into this one. What's happening? What's happening this week? Let's talk about it in the news of the week. Free agency is alive and well. The Jets are losing some players. We're bringing some players in. But last week saw us bring in a wide receiver 2 to go along with Garrett Wilson. Now, I think the lion's share of Jets fans are excited about this one. And it makes sense to be excited. He's a fantastic receiver, 6'4", 218 pounds, one of the lowest drop rates in the entire NFL, hasn't dropped a pass in 15 games, 115 targets. So, look, that's the kind of guy you want. Drops are annoying, dude, at best, right? Drops. Ooh, yes. It's the worst, right? It's the worst. So he is good at that. So that's good. He actually catches the ball. What a wide receiver. He catches it. Amazing. We bring on Mike Williams, and everybody's excited. But I think the real silver lining is that one of our own, NYJ Matt, and we've talked about this, but all over national media, I'm so happy for NYJ Matt, and by proxy, our buddy NYJ Mike as well, getting some love. It's just the coolest thing, sending the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich and all that stuff. What a cool thing to happen. Now, we know, we were talking about it in one of the live streams this week. Do you guys really think that that's why he signed? Of course not. That's not why. As a matter of fact, he ate the sandwich after he signed. So it's definitely not. They're like, hey, we're going to take $3 million off your contract, but hold it, just reserve judgment. We do have this sandwich for you. It's like, of course not. But at the same time, it's a cool thing to see the Jets actually embrace, and it made it all the way through. Then the Nets game, somebody else sent them a sandwich with the same bag. We're having some fun. And I think that's the coolest thing. Now, there are injury concerns. We talked about it last week, but, let's let it go. And we'll talk about why in the Intelligent Gripe in a few minutes. But, man, this is a solid guy. This is a top flight. If he's on the field, Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams are about as good of a 1-2 receiving core, group, collection, tandem. There it is. As good of a 1-2 tandem as we've seen since at least Decker and Marshall, right? Can we at least say that, right? We've had some guys. He's no Hogan Perryman. You know what I mean? But, I think this is a pretty good start to revitalizing the weapons. We still have Breece Hall, right? Who's, I think poised for an incredible record-breaking season. That guy is no joke. We've seen it. And now that the coaching staff realizes that he can actually play football, that's going to be exciting to see. You got the Conklins. Our tight end room, in my opinion, is very solid. We still have Allen Lazard, who, look, very disappointing last year, but with Rodgers, we know we have proof. We have 4 years with Rodgers. We know what that looks like, and it's better. So if we can push him down to 4 with maybe a draft pick or someone else being brought in, Allen Lazard running around on running plays, thunderous blocker, I think can be an asset. So adding Mike Williams is serious, guys. It's a big deal, and I'm happy about it. I would have preferred Tyler Boyd if I had to choose. If it was me, that would have been my target, and I've painted the picture why. But I'm not unhappy with this, and I think let's stop with the injuries, and I'm probably talking to myself. I'm probably the main person out there still doing that. But let's let that go, put it aside, and just be excited for the guy coming in. It's gonna be a fun year if he can stay on the field, for sure. So what's the other guy? We had a visit from Clowney the next day. Nobody sent any food. Or they did, but it didn't get in. I think a whole bunch of people sent Chinese food and subs, and maybe somebody sent the pizza pie, and the Jets staff just got to eat it if they wanted to. I don't know. But it didn't make it to Clowney. At least we didn't hear it. We didn't have the same thing because he didn't sign. Now, the word out there is that the Jets are highly motivated to bring Jadeveon Clowney into the mix. Now, if we did, I'm going to tell you, my feelings are it's a perfect complement to our defensive line rotation. We know we have Jermaine Johnson, young stud. We know we have our first-round pick from last year, Will McDonald. We know we have Michael Clemens. We know we have Quinnen Williams. JFM, we brought back Solomon Thomas. And we added Leaky Fatu and Javon Kinlaw, who will probably be the starter inside next to Quinnen Williams. But I don't, the starting thing has lost its importance over the years. A starter years ago, back in, let's say, the 90s, I was the guy who was on the field, man, unless something happened, he needed to be taken off, or a very specific package, special teams, shit like that. But starter was like, hey, that's your starter. That's the guy. He's out there on the field. Not the case so much anymore, particularly on our defensive line. It's built and predicated on that rotation to keep guys fresh, which, hey, we didn't like it at first. We were mad. Quinnen's going to play 65%. And I was right in there with it. That's bullshit. This staff sucks. We've seen it work. We've all come around, and it's our system. And, we like it. So adding a Clowney to that mix, I think, kind of finishes the job. And now Tigo on our Wednesday show, Armchair GM, on TalkinJets Network, Wednesday nights, 8 p.m., brought up a great point. And I'll say this. It's not that he couldn't come on and be a fantastic addition play-wise, right? Impact. Game impact. But if for nothing else, if it takes that desire, that seemingly insurmountable desire for the Jets to take an edge in the first round, if it does that, what the hell just happened? And it's a big win, everybody. It's a big win. So just get him in here so we don't have to even entertain it. That's a pretty good edge rusher sitting on the table, on the board. That would be enough for me. But here's the piece I want to talk to you guys about real quick. Don't forget. So we're looking at this free. He's got a visit with the Panthers. And when you look at the Jets versus the Panthers, it could be argued that we're in a better situation than them. Well, how could it be argued? Well, Bryce Young had a tough year. That's kind of their season is really hinged. It's attached to the progress of that young guy. And a lot of us didn't really love him coming out. You know what I mean? So, and we saw struggles for the reasons that we were concerned. That doesn't mean that he's not going to progress, but it's a big, big question mark. And their record and all that, having the number one pick and not having the number one pick is just brutal. You know what I mean? That's brutal. I don't even know if I could handle it. Being the worst team in the league and not having the pick because you traded up for a quarterback and he sucks so far or he's struggling so far is rough. That's a rough scenario. It doesn't get talked about enough. They'd rather talk about the Jets and how Robert Saleh is stealing cell phones from the staff than the fact that the last year's number one overall pick and how they lost the pick in the trade. And if that was the Jets, it would be talked about nonstop, right? But you look at that and you go, well, Clowney, clearly we're in a better situation, right? We have a strong, elite defense. We got Garrett Wilson, G-Dubs. We had Mike Williams. We got Aaron Rodgers coming back. Got Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, AVT, Tittman. We got all these guys. We're kind of poised, depending on health, to make some noise. But that's not the key. The key is that he came from the Baltimore Ravens, and the Ravens want him. The Ravens would like to bring him back. Let me bring up a quote from Harbaugh just very recently. Harbaugh made a comment. He ran into the agent of one Jadeveon Clowney, and they had themselves a little tiny conversation. Now let's talk about this for a second. So here's the quote. This is Harbaugh. So he says, I just ran into the agent for Jadeveon Clowney, just walking in the street, and he grabbed me, and I told him I loved him. And he's talking about Clowney. I asked, what do you think? How'd he do this year? And he goes, this is the first year he's ended the season happy. That says so much right there. It says so much for everything, for everybody in the organization. Maybe we can get him back. We're going to try. All right. So he had 9.5 sacks, 43 tackles, 25 solo, that kind of a thing. Had a sack in the AFC Championship game. So the taste in their mouth is very positive. Now, Clowney's on record as saying this is the most fun he's had all year. All his whole career, I should say. This is the most fun he's had, the most relaxed. He felt the least pressure. So why wouldn't he go back? If they're like, let's say the Jets are offering him $8 million and the Ravens are offering him $7 million. There's an argument that can be made. I mean, he's made a lot of money throughout his career. He's not like, this isn't the one big deal. Now, he's getting to the end. Maybe he's trying to maximize that income potential. I don't know. But you look, he knows it's a bird in the hand kind of a thing. I know I'm happy here. The Jets, no matter what it looks like, it doesn't matter. The sheen, it wears off every single year for this organization. So do I want to buy in? Taylor ham, egg, and cheese aside, the best Chinese food outside of, Chinatown in Manhattan aside, which, by the way, Chinatown Chinese food in Manhattan versus Chinatown Chinese food in San Francisco, which is the other one, I'm going to tell you, no comparison. And I've had both on more than one occasion. No comparison. Did you know? The segue. If you ask for lo mein, like you go to San Francisco, that's a vibrant Chinatown. It's right across the ocean, right? So San Francisco is known as a robust Chinatown. Lots of culture, beautiful scenes all over the place. It's just a really vibrant area of the city. You go in there, any Chinese food restaurant that you go to, and if you say, "Hey, I'll have the lo mein," they're going to be like, "What are you talking about?" Isn't that something? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Lo mein. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it is. You want egg drop soup and, or something like that. And you like the fried noodles. They don't have that either. They don't have it. They don't have it. So just know that going in. Now, maybe that tilted and skewed my opinion. I'm like, no, lo mein, we're getting out of here. What do I got to have, a bao bun or something? Anyway, I thought the flavors are better in our side of the country over here. But that is what. Don't get Chinese food in Virginia, by the way. It's not good. That all said, if Jadeveon Clowney, how the hell did I get to Chinatown? That's what I want to know. What did I do? Oh, the food we were saying. There it is. Okay. I'm back, everybody. So, that's a legitimate concern. If we think that, it's just a matter of time, he's going to go down there to Carolina, they'll woo him, they'll throw a little bit more money at him maybe, but he's going to look at this and go, I don't know, man. Like, I don't necessarily want to be struggling through a losing season for a little bit more cash. The Jets look good on paper, I would argue, better than the Panthers, but not better than the Ravens do. It doesn't matter what the Ravens do every year. They're always competitive, always. And they were in the AFC Championship game last year, which he was there, and he's happy. So that's the real concern with Clowney, everybody. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes this year. If the Jets can manage to sign him, then it'll be great. I think it would be a fantastic addition. Perfect, honestly. Perfect addition. Coming in, playing 50% of the snaps, that kind of a thing, keeping him fresh. Man, I think that would be great because he's not just a pass rusher, guys. He's very, very strong in run support, setting the edge. He can do all that stuff. So strong player, and I think that would be good. Now, when we bring in all these guys, one of the things when we started free agency, we had no money. Right? So we're like, we were all talking about it. Here are the guys we can restructure, extend. And we had DJ Reed and we had Conklin and JFM and all these guys that we could extend and or restructure. We knew we were losing Some guy, Carl Lawson, and some of the guys that we haven't really brought back. We saw them cut Laken Tomlinson and CJ Uzoma. But it was like, we're going to need some money. If we're going to do anything out there, we need to make some moves, some decisions here. And Joe Douglas hasn't done a lot of that. So let's break this down. Let's see, how the hell did we bring these guys in? What does it look like? Is it right? Is it wrong? And we'll do all that in this week's Intelligent Gripe. You like this hat? I love this hat. I've been having to wear it more because it's new, right? So it's tight, and I'm known in certain circles as having somewhat of a larger head. I've been told. I didn't know this. It's like having a flat ass. It's hard to know if you have a flat ass until somebody just tells you, hey, that's because your ass is flat. You go, what? That happened to me too. I wonder why my jeans are always loose and flappy. I got flappy jeans in the back. A lot of wind. I feel a lot of wind. And somebody said, well, because you got a flat ass. I was like, I do? Like, I don't know. So, you don't realize you have a big head so much, and then somebody tells you. So I learned this. So we get the new hat, and it's been tight, so I can't wear it for long stretches of time. So like a hat that I've had a while, it's like it knows whose head it's supposed to be on. This one's getting there, but look at this beautiful thing. This is the TalkinJets logo. I love it. I love this hat, and I'm determined to get it adjusted to this cranial cavity that I walk around with on top of my shoulders. But yeah, man, Talking Jets, that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to look at this free agent period that Joe Douglas has put together. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, right? We can still bring in a running back. You can bring in another wide receiver. Tyler Boyd is still out there. I would be delighted. Guys, I would be, if the Jets brought in Tyler Boyd in addition to Mike Williams, I would literally go into the draft and say, whatever you want. Whatever. I would have very low emotions compared to my usual draft approach, which is I'm ready to be pissed. I'm ready to be excited. I'm ready to be pissed. I'd be like, whatever, man. You want to take a tackle? You want to take a wide receiver? You want to take Bowers? You want to trade back? Have some fun, because we did a really solid job with the offensive line. And we still have our developmental guys, Carter Warren, Max Mitchell, who had himself a rough year, but who knows, right? So we got Mitchell, we got Warren, we re-signed Jake Hansen, who they like. He's on the younger side. Obviously, Tippmann's in there. So we still have these young guys, and we brought in some vets. So it's nice. It's a nice, solid-looking collection. And then you got wide receiver. We got G-Dubs, Mike Williams, in this instance, Tyler Boyd, Lazard, Gibson. Okay, man, wait till you get to the third. Take a wide receiver there. It's fine. It gives you that freedom. We got the tight ends. We got Conklin, Ruckert, Yeboah. You got Kuntz. But if you bring in a Bowers, it's like, all right, well, let's just not sign, I always want to say Tommy Bohannon. What the hell's his name? The fullback. I always get stuck on Bohannon. Bawden. Yeah, I did it. Bawden. So you just don't sign Bawden. You still let him take that roster spot. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's a freedom there. So there's lots of guys that we could still bring in, but we do have a nice data collection to kind of create some thoughts and opinions on. And so we started, Joe Douglas, he's brought in, he started with Isaiah Oliver. Isaiah Oliver was cut, so it doesn't really count versus any comp pick thing or anything like that. But the first thing he does is when free agency starts, is he makes an agreement with John Simpson from the Baltimore Ravens, a guard. People were we didn't have him so much on our radar. A little disappointed. Everybody goes to PFF and all that shit. But as you look at it, you break down some games, and X Factor, Jets X Factor, been doing a good job. Blewett and Nania have been doing a good job of kind of showing some of his work, which is really good. I've chosen to watch some game stuff on him through NFL Network, going back and just looking, not NFL, NFL.com, going on to the All 22 and even just some games, looking at some stuff, and he looks like a pretty damn good upgrade over Laken Tomlinson at left guard. So we're excited about that. And then he turns around, he brings in Tyrod Taylor and Javon Kinlaw. And everybody's like, okay, well, look at this. He's got a backup quarterback. He got himself a guard. got himself a defensive tackle. All positions that we were talking about. Very, very good. Good. Maybe not the names we were talking about, although I was on the Javon Kinlaw train. The other two guys, not so much. So he gets Tyron Smith, the number one tackle in free agency by most people's estimations. The injuries are a concern. So how much money do you want to give this guy? That's really the thing. Do you want to, with the Jets' history and everything, there's a concern. How much money do we want to give him? Well, you turn around, we hear $20 million. Oh my God, $20 million. You hear $7.2 million. Oh my God, for Kinlaw. Oh my God. You see 8 point whatever for Tyrod Taylor. You're like, where are we getting the money? So then we see Joe Douglas turn around and he renegotiates and extends CJ Mosley. So instead of being $21 million for 1 year, we now have CJ Mosley $17.25 million for 2 years. Significantly different, creates the room, and he's able to bring some guys on. Why isn't he doing it with us? Well, it looks like Joe Douglas just might have these agreements in place maybe with his players, and he's going to do it as needed. He's not going to get into a situation that gets him in stuck for, 2025 or 2026 unless he needs to. If I need the money, I'll renegotiate, which is a really interesting shift from last year where we saw all these restructures take place. And we didn't really need it. We ended up going into the season. We threw a bunch at Dalvin Cook. It's because we had it. We had all this money that we could kind of play with and stuff. But he didn't really need it. And I think he might have learned his lesson because we have some dead cap stuff that we're looking at this year. So in the 2022 offseason, we brought in Laken Tomlinson and we brought in CJ Uzoma. There was $39 million of guarantees that Joe Douglas gave out for those two players that year. Two players, Laken Tomlinson, CJ Uzoma, $39 million in guarantees. With this bunch, Isaiah Oliver, Javon Kinlaw, Leaky Fotu, Tyrod Taylor, John Simpson, Tyron Smith, and Mike Williams, $40.6 million. So he went up $1.6 million in guarantees to get all those players in comparison to getting Laken and CJ Uzoma in 2022. So significant difference. Now, the reason being is because some of these guys have injury concerns and all that stuff. So, but Joe Douglas, the way that he's worked through this is really quite masterful. Let's start, if we may, with Tyron Smith. Now, we heard 1 year, $20 million. Well, the way it was said was 1 year up to $20 million. So we go, $20 million? That's a lot of money for a guy who's only played 13 games last year, hasn't finished a season in 9 years. And the interesting thing is not that he hasn't finished the season, but hasn't played a full season, right? He gets injured and comes back and all that kind of stuff. So it's not quite the same as we try to silver line this. Let's take a look at the actual contract breakdown quickly. So Albert Breer put this tweet out on X. He tweeted on X. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this whole thing. Can I just call it Twitter, for God's sakes? He tweeted on X or Twitter the contract breakdown. So this is like, it's crazy town when you look at it. But it's essentially, you play, you get paid. You don't, and you don't get paid. Which is, to get a player of his caliber, even with everything else included, the injuries, still blew my hair back. I was like, really? Wow. So let's look at it. 1 year, $6.5 million. That's what we're looking at. $6.5 million fully guaranteed. If you just look at the games that he has played, it's not bad just on that alone. Up to $5.75 million in the first playtime incentives. So let's go through this. Here are the playing time incentives. If he plays 38% of the offensive snaps, he gets $750,000. If he gets up to 44%, he gets another $1.75 million. Gets to 50, 2.75, 56, 3.75, 62%, he gets $4.75 million. If he gets to 68% of the snaps, $5.75 million. All right. 68% is right in, I think he played, what was it, 60%, 65% last year, something along those lines. So that's right in that pocket. 74%, look at this, 74% he gets 1.25 million, 80% 2.5 million, 86% 3.75 million, 92% 5 million, 98% 6.25 million. Now, when you look at this, we get 98% of the snaps from Tyron Smith. Dude, you know, who cares what we're, right? Who cares? From our perspective, we get 98% of the plays, which he hasn't done since 2015, so it's unlikely. But if he does, because he's motivated by this, are you okay with the money? I say we are. Because the level of play, he was a second-team All-Pro last year, guys, Pro Bowl tackle. So if you're getting that level of play, nobody's talking about the money. It's like when you trade, right? We were all upset when Mike Tannenbaum traded a second to move up to get Revis. Everybody's like, it was not where we shouldn't have used a second. Anybody talk about that second-round pick anymore? Very few people talk about that second-round pick. Now, I'll tell you, if AVT was healthy, you know, that we gave up 2/3 to move in. We don't talk about it anyway because we know AVT is good. But anybody talking about that draft cap? Nobody. Because it doesn't matter. In the moment, yeah, money, yeah, draft picks, it matters, but it doesn't matter. So look at this deal. The fact that Joe Douglas put this together, and again, the Jets, like we talked about last week, the Jets didn't think he was going to sign it, but he did. Let's take a look at the comment from Tyron Smith. If I say Tyrod Taylor at any point, just know I mean Tyron Smith, okay? Because it might happen. I might have already happened. I could feel it. Whenever I say Ty, I could feel my mouth wanting to say Tyrod Taylor. It's hard. It's hard stuff. Let's take a look. So this is what he said. And it just sounds like a guy who's really hyper aware of the reality of his situation. He doesn't have a false perception of his current situation. 33 years old. He's been injured for 9 straight years. Like, he gets it. He says, honestly, I'm just excited to be on a team, to be able to have the opportunity to continue playing. Dude, brass tacks. Now, maybe if another team offered the same, maybe he's not a Jet. We don't know. But here he is. But yes, the way my contract is, it speaks for what's been happening for the past couple of years. Honestly, I think it's a fair deal. Imagine that. A guy saying, yeah, it's fair. I haven't played. If I play, they pay me. If I don't, then they don't. I get $6.5 million, and I'm not complaining about it. It's fine. But if I play, I can get up to this. And if I don't, then I lose out. It sounds like a really positive mindset that you're bringing into the locker room. It's not, he doesn't feel slighted. I fucking bullshit. I got to take these kinds of contracts. It's fair. It's a fair deal. I plan and hope to earn all that money. That's my goal. If I don't, then they don't lose any money. No sweat. I think it's just amazing. It's magical. It's a fucking miracle. We're talking about paying Jets taxes and all that. We were totally bracing for just ridiculous contracts. And it's funny because then as soon as we see the Kinlaw contract, we're like, we're talking about Jets tax. 1 minute, we get Kinlaw $7 million. Blah, blah, blah. We're funny. Because I did it too. We're a funny collection of individuals, are we not? Now let's take a look at Mike Williams' contract. So we hear, he's getting $15 million and the whole thing. So his contract, it's similar. It's, he gets a 1-year, $10 million deal. Now, he hasn't played 18 games in the past 2 years, but up to that point, he was relatively consistent. He only has 1 full season, but he would miss 1 game, 2 games. So you can live with that. And the 2 years ago in 2022, he missed 4 games. So last year was the big one. He missed 14. He's coming off an ACL. So there are concerns, so he gets a $3.3 million bonus. $8.3 million is fully guaranteed. So tell me, in $10 million deal, 8.3 is fully guaranteed, but $5 million of it is incentive laden. So he has to play as well. If you don't play, you don't get paid. There are incentives. And it's really to go from the idea that we have to pay a jet tax and we're going to have to extend all these guys and maybe we don't even want them, but you need the money, to go from that to see one player, CJ Mosley, restructured, it's an extension, but to see only really the work being on one guy, to get all these guys and see the types of contracts that Joe Douglas is able to put together, where's the jet tax? The jet tax is, look, dude, I hear you, but if you want me to come to this organization, you're paying me. It's going to be a guaranteed contract. I'll go somewhere else and get it. I can go to 3 other places, or I can go wherever. Now, maybe the options are limited or whatever, but they can just wait. You know, Tyron Smith can just wait. Wait till training camp. It happens every year. Somebody goes down. They go grab Tyron Smith and give him the money he wants, right? So the fact that we're able to see him doing this, Javon Kinlaw is another one. We heard 1 year, $7.2 million. Technically, it kind of is that because he's only a contract to play for 1 year. But the money is not all coming out of this year. It's 2.8 this year and 4 or so next year. And then there's a bunch of void years and everything like that. So if they love him, they can, play around with that and extend him in, within that framework. But he split the money. So if he's gone in 1 year, sure, we have $4 million in dead cap next year, but we have a lot more money next year. So it's smart to do that. So you see, the fact that he's able to do all this stuff is really impressive by Joe Douglas. It's really impressive, guys. And I have to say, I'm delighted. Now, I'd love to see a vet running back brought in. It's getting slimmer out there. Kareem Hunt's still out there. There's Ezekiel Elliott's still out there. Either one would be fantastic as a compliment, right? But who knows? Maybe we see one of those guys brought in. You might see another wide receiver brought in. But defensive tackle, we took care of. We got a backup cornerback to replace Bryce Hall. You got the offensive line, at least the starters, taken care of. You got a wide receiver number 2, and we're fine. And the contracts, if something happens, we're not on the hook. It's not a bad job. I have to say, in this offseason of beating Joe Douglas up, and look, I think it's fair. I'm a Joe Douglas supporter by and large, but you gotta call it like it is. He had a rough year. He had really lackadaisical year last year. It was kind of like, we're fine, and you weren't. So seeing him come out of the gate this way, not crazy, reckless, but aggressive, like he likes to say, I think he's done a good job. Let me know what you think. Do you think the contracts are just rearranging the chairs on the Titanic and these guys are injured no matter how you slice it and they're not going to play, and then we're still in the same situation? Would you rather have seen other guys? Are there guys you want to bring in? Let me know in the comments, guys. I enjoy talking with you. This is going to be fun. Don't forget about the 10 o'clock mock tonight with one and only Dom C. Let's get that going. 10 p.m. right here. Guys, enjoy the rest of the week. And with that all said, as always, go Jets.